If your mind were a city, would its gates stand open to every sound, every urgency, every opinion that passes by? Or would there be a quiet watchman who knows your name and your purpose? Feel your shoulders drop for a moment. Notice the breath as it moves like a small tide in and out. Somewhere beneath the noise, there is a steady you, a wiser you that has not disappeared, only been drowned by excess. You are not weak. You are not behind. You are overloaded. And overload is not a verdict. It is a condition that can be changed. You have carried 1,000 invisible weights today. Notifications, unfinished conversations, second-guessing, the memory of a look that stung longer than it should. The body keeps score. The jaw clenches. The stomach tightens. The heart learns to race as if the starting gun never ends. The mind tries to help by staying alert. But constant alertness becomes a storm. When the amygdala fires without rest, the inner siren drowns out wisdom. When attention leaks, decisions scatter. When decisions scatter, peace becomes expensive. Yet there is another pattern available, one that is ancient and deeply human, practical, not mystical, spiritual yet grounded in how the brain and heart learn. You can quiet the siren, you can restore the gates. Solomon spoke to minds just like ours, tired, talented, tempted to run faster when the path is already unclear. He called for watchfulness, not worry, for understanding, not noise, for counsel, not performance. He did not promise luck, he promised a way. Guard what enters, choose words with care, slow anger until it turns into insight. Move from desire to plan, from plan to pace, from pace to fruit. Seek voices that refine you. The wisdom is steady and sober. It doesn't shout. It stands at the crossroads and invites. And when you accept the invitation, the nervous system begins to mirror your choices. Breath slows. Cortisol softens. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of planning and restraint, wakes up like dawn over a quiet city. What seems spiritual becomes deeply practical. What seems practical becomes a form of worship. Let your attention settle in your chest for a second. Place a palm there if you can. Whisper to yourself, even if only in your thoughts, I am not my rush. I am not my last mistake. I am not my most anxious moment. Notice how the body changes when truth is spoken without violence. This is not positive thinking, it is accurate thinking. The brain is plastic. It rewires to what we rehearse. Rehearse panic, and panic grows. Rehearse wisdom, and wisdom becomes reflex. Repetition is not punishment. Repetition is how neurons learn to dance together. What you steadily repeat, you steadily become. Perhaps you feel the fatigue of over-explaining yourself in rooms that reward noise over depth. Perhaps you carry the aftertaste of a comment that felt small to others, but landed like glass in your chest. Perhaps your calendar is full, yet your soul is underfed. There is no shame here, only a mirror. The mind cannot thrive in hostility. It thrives in order, in purpose, in rhythms that let it rest and rise. Think of a garden. Soil doesn't shout. Soil holds, filters, nourishes, and releases. Good soil is not unvisited soil. It is tended soil. Your inner life asks to be tended. So feel the ground. Let your feet find it. Calm is not laziness. Calm is clarity. When the breath evens, the mind regains options. When the mind regains options, character has room to choose the better one. This is how spiritual insight and emotional neuroscience shake hands. The sacred and the scientific are not at war here. They are two lamplights on the same path, each revealing how a guarded inner life becomes a generous outer life. Peace is not the absence of responsibility. It is the presence of wise boundaries. There are names for the hinges of this path, and you will hear them as markers, like milestones guiding you through the city. Listen for them as if listening for your own address. The city of your thoughts guarding the gates. As you think, you become the inner dialogue that builds lives. Reframing offense, turning triggers into strategic clarity. Desire needs direction, from wishful thinking to diligent planning. Counsel upgrades. Cognition, outsourcing your blind spots. These are not slogans. They are doors. Open one and the draft of hurry eases. Open another and the room fills with light you forgot you had. Before you step through, notice what you most long for, not the applause, not the quick win, the real longing. Rest that does not collapse your ambition, focus that doesn't cost your kindness, success that doesn't tax your sleep. A life that grows both fruit and shade, results that feed others, and a presence that shelters them. This is not naive, it is ancient. The wise knew something about power that our age forgets. The mind is not a battlefield to be conquered by force. It is a sanctuary to be ordered with love, guarded with discernment, and strengthened by practice. You may doubt that small choices will matter. You have tried big, heroic bursts that flared and burned out. But bursts are not the way. The way is steady, a few gates closed to the unworthy noise, a few words chosen after the heat subsides, a plan small enough to keep, a cadence modest enough to repeat, a circle of counsel humble enough to receive. The brain loves rhythm, the heart loves meaning. Give both what they love and watch your inner city rebuild its walls and open its markets in peace. This will not be harsh. It will be clear. It will not shame you. It will invite you. When a hard truth appears, it will arrive with a hand on your shoulder, not a finger in your face. When a practice is given, it will fit into real days with real pressures. Your story matters too much for theatrics. Your mind deserves dignity. Your future deserves guardrails that free, not chains that bind. Let the next minutes be a quiet turning. Not a spectacle, a turning. If you are ready, imagine yourself standing just inside the gates at dawn. Mist in the streets, lamps still warm from the night. Somewhere a craftsman sharpens his tools. Somewhere a mother sets bread to rise. Somewhere a counselor opens a book. The city is your thought life. The tools are your habits. The bread is your words. The counsel is your community. You do not have to rebuild everything today. You only have to begin, and beginning is powerful. Beginning is sacred. Now, listen for the first hinge. The city of your thoughts, guarding the gates. There are days when the mind feels like open streets at midday, crowded and loud, with every voice waving for attention and every urgency insisting on a place in the parade. News moves in like a marching band. Memories pull at your sleeve. Someone else's fear sets up shop on the corner. You can be brilliant and still feel porous. You can be strong and still feel thin. This is not a flaw in you. This is what happens when gates forget their purpose. A wise voice from long ago described the unguarded soul as a city without walls, not because the person is weak, but because the borders have grown blurry. Without borders, even the best heart spends itself too quickly. Imagine early light over that city. There are gates made for decisions. There are gates made for words. There are gates that choose which streams of information are clean and which are muddy. Gates are not enemies of freedom. Gates are friends of peace. When the body is flooded by alerts, the nervous system holds its breath. Shoulders lift, jaw hardens, sleep turns shallow. The watchman inside you tries to help by staying ready for anything, but readiness without rest becomes a permanent siren. The inner alarm learns to ring first and ask questions later. This is not because you are broken. This is because the mind was never designed for endless traffic. There is a simple mercy in saying less to what steals attention and more to what builds it. Not rejection, selection. Not a clenched life, a curated one. When the river is dammed with care, the fields do not dry, they flourish. The brain responds to that care. The fear center softens its grip. The thoughtful part steps forward and takes its seat. You do not have to push to make this happen. Awareness itself changes the chemistry. Naming the intrusion calms it. Naming the value strengthens it. Peace is not the absence of responsibility. Peace is order around what matters. Some people discover that clarity grows when they treat incoming ideas the way a careful host treats a door. Not every knock is an invitation. Not every visitor is a guest. This is not suspicion. This is hospitality with wisdom. There are sources that nourish purpose. There are voices that provide counsel. There are streams that sharpen your craft. These are welcome. There are other streams that stir comparison, erode gratitude, or ignite anger without aim. These need a waiting room. The mind is a sanctuary, not a marketplace. Sanctuaries do not ban the world. They bless it by choosing what may enter and when. In this city, words are currency. Spend them with weight. When speech is hurried, value leaks. When speech is measured, value compounds. There is strength in quiet, not the quiet that avoids truth, the quiet that lets truth arrive whole. People often believe that constant commentary proves presence. It rarely does. A paused mouth and a listening heart can raise the temperature of a room from frantic to focused. The mind becomes powerful not because it speaks first, but because it chooses when and how to speak at all. There is a gentle practice some hold for a short season. They watch their gates. They notice the pathways information travels to reach them. They notice which conversations leave them settled and which leave them inflamed. They notice which screens return them to purpose and which screens steal an hour and then ask for another. No lists on a wall, no drama, just attentive seeing. Awareness is a soft light. Under that light, the city reorganizes itself. The noise starts to reveal a pattern. The pattern starts to reveal a choice. Choice creates strength. Protected spaces change the inner weather. When certain hours belong to depth and are honored like a vow, attention begins to trust the day again. Focus becomes a familiar road rather than a rare event. The work that once felt tangled begins to breathe. You notice the way ideas line up when interruption stops grabbing the steering wheel. You notice how kindness returns when the mind is not stretched thin. Not every hour can be protected. Life is not a monastery. Still, a few sacred rooms in the day make the whole house feel different. It helps to remember that guarding the gates is not about fear, it is about love. You love the future you are building. You love the people who will live under its shade. You love the call that has followed you through both the cheers and the quiet. Love chooses what to admit because love knows what it wants to preserve. A wise heart guards its springs. From those springs, everything else flows. Ideas flow, courage flows, patience flows. Without that guarding, the springs grow cloudy, and you begin to doubt your own water. There is a story told in many lives. A person once tried to prove strength by staying open to everything. The result was exhaustion, dressed as engagement. Then, another person learned to open with discernment. The result was presence. Same day, same world, different gates. The first arrived at night with a tired soul and a mind still sprinting. The second arrived with a soul that could finally exhale. The difference was not talent. The difference was the gentle art of selection. If you listen closely, you can hear the city beginning to trust itself again. Fewer horns, more footsteps that know where they are going. The watchman does not patrol with suspicion. The watchman walks with a quiet smile. He knows the names of the traders who bring good grain. He knows the healers who bring true medicine. He knows the storytellers who remind people who they are. He also knows when to lift a hand and ask the noise to wait its turn. Power begins there, not in a louder shout, in a wiser gate. A final picture settles this truth. A wall does not imprison what is alive within it. A wall holds shape so that life can grow tall without collapsing. Vines climb because there is something to climb. Lamps burn steady because wind is shielded. Families sleep because danger must knock instead of slip through. Your inner walls are not a rejection of the world. They are a gift to it. You become someone whose presence is not scattered by every gust. You become someone who brings weather that others can depend on. Breathe like a person who has returned home and recognizes the street. Walk as if the ground remembers you. Let the gates learn the difference between weight and wind. Let your words grow few enough to matter and kind enough to heal. Let the walls carry the dignity of your purpose. Let the city rise in quiet strength, because quiet strength is the only kind that lasts. When you feel the first stillness take root, remember this wisdom that walked through centuries to reach you. Guard the springs. Keep the gates. Peace is not far. It has been waiting at the threshold all along. There are hours when the mind speaks in a voice that sounds like truth simply because it is familiar. It narrates your day before your day has a chance to speak for itself. It predicts the ending before the story begins. It says this will be hard and you are already tired. It says they will not understand. It says you are late, you are less. You are only pretending to be strong. The body hears this voice and answers with its own language. The chest tightens a little. The stomach cools. The shoulders creep upward. It is a quiet chain, thought to feeling to posture to choice. The link is so smooth that it can seem invisible. Yet there is nothing more visible in a life than the pattern of its thoughts. Ancient wisdom told a simple and piercing truth. A person grows into the shape of the thoughts they hold most deeply, not the thoughts that visit for a moment, but the ones that are given a chair at the table and a key to the door. Neuroscience nods in agreement. The brain wires itself to whatever is rehearsed. Pathways thicken with practice. Neurons keep the beat you give them. If the inner dialogue plays fear on repeat, the nervous system learns that song and hums it without needing a reason. If the inner dialogue learns accuracy and kindness, the body gradually rests its guard and the wise part of the mind returns to full strength. It is not magic. It is honest training. There is a difference between flattery and truth that heals. Flattery throws a blanket over pain. Truth pulls back the blanket and speaks softly to the wound. Many carry a critic that has learned to crash every conversation. It calls itself realistic. It calls itself protective. It claims that harshness is the only thing that keeps you from making a fool of yourself. Yet the critic forgets what growth requires. The mind learns the way a garden learns. It needs right conditions. It needs light and steady water. It needs boundaries around the roots. Under contempt, the soil turns hard and the seedling curls into itself. Under accurate and steady care, the same seedling remembers what it was designed to do. Consider the way a day unfolds under two scripts. In the first script, a difficult task approaches and the inner voice says, "This will expose you." Energy drops before the first step. The body braces, small delays multiply. At night, the task remains, and the mind spins. In the second script, the same task approaches, and the inner voice says, "This will stretch you," and stretching makes you stronger. Effort gathers in small, present pulses. The body feels the stretch, yet it is not fear. It is work with meaning. The same person, the same task, two different scripts, two different lives. Not because of talent, but because the narration changed. There is a tender wisdom in noticing the first sentence that rises when pressure enters the room. The first sentence often holds the old story. It speaks in absolutes. It loves the words always and never. It measures worth in a single moment and calls the verdict final. The heart suffers under that kind of judge. A wiser voice works differently. It does not deny difficulty. It names it with clean lines. It adds time and context to the picture. It remembers past faithfulness. It remembers that effort plants seeds that do not show fruit on the same day. It remembers that mistakes are information, not identity. This is not softness. It is strength that refuses to lie. The body responds to that kind of truth. Breath smooths, the face loosens. The prefrontal part of the brain, the place of planning and restraint, wakes like morning. The amygdala, which is built to keep you safe, takes its proper seat rather than the throne. You feel choices return. You remember what matters. The heart does not speed to outrun a phantom. It finds a pace that can last. This is why the inner dialogue matters so much. It is not private. It pours into your voice, your hands, your presence in every room. Some carry a fear that a kinder inner voice will make them soft or lazy. They believe the hard edge is the only way they ever got anywhere. Yet the hard edge often carries a hidden cost. It keeps you moving and leaves you empty. It drives you through the door and robs you of sleep. It creates results and drains relationships. Kind truth is not permissive. It is precise. It says the standard is real, the goal is good, the error is fixable, the day is redeemable. It says the work will ask a great deal of you, and you will not be alone in it. It inspires effort rather than extracting it. The stories we tell ourselves about others live here as well. When trust is fragile, the mind can rush to protect by assigning motives quickly. Harsh stories gather speed. They feel like certainty, yet certainty born from fear rarely sees clearly. When the inner dialogue grows patient, it widens the lens. It remembers that people act from their own storms. It remembers that dignity is a better starting point than suspicion. Calm questions find truth faster than accusations. The old wisdom names this slowness as strength. You can feel how different the body becomes when the first story is not the final one. There is a music to thoughts that build rather than break. It is simple. It repeats with steadiness. It moves the heart without shouting. It sounds like this. You are not your rush. You are not your worst moment. You are not the echo of an old voice that never learned how to bless. You are a person in process, and presence is your ally. Effort is your ally. Counsel is your ally. Gratitude is your ally. When these notes return day after day, the inner landscape changes. What once felt like a desert begins to hold water again. You stand taller, not in pride, but in alignment. Some remember a time when they thought peace meant passivity. They feared that if the mind grew quiet, their ambition would fade. The opposite is true. Frenzy blurs vision. Peace sharpens it. When the inner dialogue refuses to bully and chooses to build, energy is not wasted on self-defense. It is invested in the work that matters. The wise heart learns to carry both tenderness and grit in the same hand. It speaks to itself the way it would speak to a friend under strain. Then it follows that speech with honest action at a human pace. There will still be hard days. There will still be critical voices, both inside and outside. The goal is not to silence every wind. The goal is to know which winds deserve your sail. The inner dialogue becomes a compass rather than a storm. When you lose the way for a moment, it points you back to true north. When fatigue spikes and old sentences try to reclaim the microphone, it calls you by your real name, not a label from a failure, not a role you perform. A person of worth who houses purpose and can choose again. Let this be the quiet conclusion of the lesson. Thoughts are not spectators in your life. They are builders. They raise beams. They lay foundations. They decide where the windows face and how much light a room will bear. If the blueprint has been drawn by fear, the home will feel cramped, no matter how large its rooms are. If the blueprint has been drawn by wisdom, the same walls hold a different sky. The mind learns what it hears most often. Speak truth that heals. Repeat it until it feels natural. In time, the inner city lifts its head. The streets clear. The doors open to work that matters and to love that lasts. And you become what you have been rehearsing all along. There are moments when a small sentence lands like a stone dropped in still water, and the circles keep widening long after the speaker has forgotten they spoke. The face heats, the chest tightens, thoughts sharpen into quick edges, energy that could build something beautiful rushes to defend a boundary that feels under attack. Offense arrives fast and whispers that the fastest answer is the safest one. The body believes it. The tongue leans forward. The heart wants relief. Yet the relief that comes from striking back is a flame that burns the room and leaves you to sweep the ashes. Ancient wisdom honors a different strength. It calls slowness to anger a crown and says that overlooking an offense can be gain rather than loss. This is not weakness and it is not denial. It is mastery over the inner weather so that the outer world receives your best mind rather than your hottest moment. Imagine a balance scale in a quiet shop. On one side sit emotion and pride and the rush to be right. On the other side sit outcome and relationship and the future you want to inhabit. When the scale steadies, you can see that not every sting deserves a speech, and not every bruise deserves a battle. The brain has reasons for the rush. A sharp word can make the guard inside you reach for the alarm. The old survival system does its job and floods the body with power to act. Breath shortens. vision narrows. The part of the mind that plans and guides choices goes dim for a while because the body believes speed is safety. None of this means you are broken, it means you are human. And because you are human, there is also another path. When the inner siren quiets even a little, thinking becomes spacious again, meaning returns. What truly matters steps into the light. Clarity grows when you ask what future you want and let that future shape the present sentence. There is a difference between winning an instant and winning a week. There is a difference between proving a point and protecting a bond that will build many points over time. Some discover that a moment of silence acts like cool water on a hot pan. The hiss is real, and then it is gone. In that small, quiet, language changes shape. You can name what is true without striking. You can set a boundary without wounding. You can move a conflict forward instead of swinging it in a circle. Think of a story from everyday life. A leader receives a sharp message at the end of a long day. The first draft in the mind is fast and clever and would feel good for a heartbeat. Another draft is slower and wiser and would feel good tomorrow. The first draft would win the room for a minute. The second would win the project for a season. The leader chooses the second, and something small yet powerful happens. Trust rises a little, respect rises a little, the work itself rises. The sharp message becomes a doorway instead of a wall. This is the quiet profit of reframing offense. Some hurts are not simple, and some wrongs do ask for clean accountability. Wisdom does not pretend that all pain is equal or that all words should be swallowed. Wisdom remembers sequence, first calm, then clarity, then action that fits the size of the truth. Calm is not surrender. Calm is control. It allows you to measure the weight of what happened and to respond with accuracy rather than impulse. A measured answer travels further than a perfect comeback. A measured answer protects dignity on all sides. You can feel the difference in your body. Shoulders ease, breath lengthens, sleep returns without scenes replaying against your will. There is help in shared eyes. Plans get stronger when they pass through counsel before they meet the heat of a room. A trusted peer can spot where ego is driving the wheel. A seasoned elder can name patterns that show up across years. A skilled specialist can translate technical risk into plain speech. When offense stirs the dust, borrowed perspective settles it. You are still the one who decides. You are simply deciding with more light. The mind grows generous under that kind of light. It stops spending itself on self-defense and spends itself on solutions that last. Overlooking a small slight can be like leaving seed in the barn on a day when the wind is too strong to plant. The seed is not lost. It is protected until the ground can receive it. In the same way, not every comment deserves your strength today. Save strength for the work that feeds many. Save words for the conversation that will actually move a heart. The wise learn to distinguish a passing gust from a true storm. They let the gust go. They prepare for the storm with steady hands and open eyes. Many discover that kindness in conflict is not softness but focus. It keeps the target in view while refusing the detour of ego. It says, let us build something useful out of this friction. It says, let us seek the shared good before we argue the small fault. It turns the temperature down so that reason can rise. In that cooler air, apology is easier where it is due. Repair is faster where it is possible. Boundaries are clearer where they are needed. People leave the moment feeling seen rather than scored. The heart you carry has a deep desire to be both strong and clean. It does not want to win by wounding. It does not want to step over a person to stand on a point. It wants to carry truth with grace, to protect its values without losing its voice, to remain tender without being fragile. This is the path. Name what matters and keep it in the center. Let each reply serve that center. When the sting comes again, and it will come again, you will recognize the fork in the road. One path is a quick blaze, the other is a steady light. A city does better under steady light. There will be times when silence itself is the strongest sentence in the room. Not the silence that hides, but the silence that chooses timing. There will be times when a gentle word closes a cut that a sharp word would deepen. There will be times when you walk away from a small battle and realize you have kept the strength you need for a greater one. This is not theoretical. This is daily bread for the mind and the heart. Let the picture settle now. A scale in balance. A room where voice is lower and thinking returns. A face that softens because it is no longer trying to survive the moment. A future that feels reachable because today's answer served it. Offense will always knock. You do not have to give it your keys. When triggers arrive, they can become teachers. They can point to what you value. They can reveal where you are growing. And your clarity can turn even a hard moment into a step toward the life you want to build. There is a kind of hunger that wakes before the alarm and lingers after the lights go out. It dreams in color. It sketches futures on the inside of your chest. It promises that when the right wave arrives, everything will finally come together. This hunger is good. It is the raw material of vision, yet hunger without structure becomes an ache. Energy swirls, then thins. Days begin with fire and end with ash. Hope feels like a visitor who never stays through the night. The heart is not failing. The heart is waiting for a path that can hold its weight. Ancient wisdom speaks with a calm certainty about this waiting. Outcomes follow plans, the way harvest follows season. The diligent are not louder than others. They are steadier. They choose a road and keep walking it while others keep changing maps. They understand that desire by itself is a spark, and that sparks do not bake bread. The wise speak of steps that lead to gain, of paths that grow brighter with use, of hands that learn a rhythm and then teach it to the rest of the life. This is not romantic, this is reverent. It treats effort as a sacred offering and time as a trusted partner. In the body, diligence feels like an even breath, no dramatic surges. No desperate crashes. The nervous system learns to expect work and to expect rest. Muscles of attention grow the way real muscles grow, not through bruising effort, but through repeated engagement. The brain begins to favor the part of you that plans and maintains. The storm centers quiet because there is nothing to fear in a day that knows what it is about. That calm is not boredom, it is power stored in the right place. Consider the difference between wishing and shaping. Wishing stares at the mountain and waits for wings. Shaping studies the slope and starts a path. The path may be narrow, the progress may feel small, yet the feet learn the ground. Steps begin to remember themselves. Momentum births a gentle confidence that no motivational speech can replace. You become the kind of person who trusts action more than adrenaline and progress more than applause. You stop bargaining with time and start befriending it. A quiet example helps the truth land. Someone who has long wanted to write carries a bright hope that flares on weekends and fades by midweek. Then a small shift occurs. The desire is given a room in the day with a door and a lamp. Not a grand hall, a modest room. The mind learns that there is a place where this work always happens. The hands learn the feel of the tools. The heart arrives without needing a trumpet to announce it. Weeks pass. The room becomes a place of memory. The craft deepens. The person is the same, yet everything is different. Desire met direction and found a home. The wise have always honored small, faithful motions. They point to creatures that gather grain bit by bit until there is plenty. They praise hands that prepare and return and prepare again. This is not a hymn to busyness. It is a song for cadence. Cadence sees past the mood of the moment. Cadence has respect for limits and the courage to honor them. Cadence knows that excellence grows in soil that is tended at a human pace. When life moves like this, the body collaborates, sleep steadies, focus thickens, the heart carries weight without tearing. The gentle mind understands that a plan is not a cage. A plan is a promise to your future self. It says you will not always have peak strength, and that is all right because the path will carry you on the days when your legs are tired. It says you may not always feel inspired, and that is all right because the habit will lift your hand to begin. It says you will not chase every glittering chance because you have chosen a field to cultivate, and that field will feed you in time. Some fear that structure will suffocate their creativity or their spirit. They imagine that order is the enemy of life. In practice, the opposite is true. Structure is the trellis that lets the vine climb. Boundaries protect the bloom from wind that would snap the stem. Order makes room for overflow. When there is a place for things, energy does not leak into decision after decision about where to start. The mind is free to create, and the heart is free to care. The day feels lighter not because it holds less, but because it holds with wisdom. There is kindness in refusing the allure of the grand gesture that vanishes by morning. There is kindness in choosing steady beginnings over perfect ones. Perfect arrives late and demands a price no one can pay. Steady arrives quietly and brings fruit that surprises you with its sweetness. When results take time, steadiness becomes an act of faith. The old wisdom shines here. Steps taken with understanding are never wasted. They build under the surface, even when the surface looks still. Relationships bend toward this truth as well. Dreams shared with others become easier to carry when the glow of a new idea is matched by the glow of regular effort. Trust is built where promises keep finding their way into the calendar. Teams breathe easier when the air is not electric with constant pivots. Families rest easier when presence is not a leftover, but a chosen portion. Planning does not make life rigid. It makes life reliable enough to love. There will still be storms and sudden turns. There will still be days when plans must be rewritten by unexpected need. Yet the person who has practiced direction returns to the path without self-punishment. No drama, no anthem of failure. The road is still there. The tools are still within reach. The heart knows the way home. This is how strength looks from the inside. Quiet, patient, unmoved by either flattery or despair. Let the picture settle. A field at dawn. Tools laid out with care. The first lines marked in the soil, not grand. True, birds cross the light. Breath moves with a calm rhythm. Somewhere under the surface, roots are taking hold because they finally have what they need. Desire did not go away. It grew wiser. It found direction. It learned to become a life rather than a wish. And the mind, now trained by this kindness, holds its focus the way good earth holds water, ready to release it into fruit that lasts. There are seasons when the mind is impressive yet lonely. A bright room without windows, brilliant at rearranging what it already knows, and poor at noticing what it cannot see. You work hard, you move fast, you repeat a decision that once worked, and wonder why it now leaks strength. The pattern is not obvious from inside the pattern. Blind spots do not announce themselves. They hide behind habits and confidence. They wear the mask of familiarity. The cost is quiet at first, then it grows. You feel it in strained outcomes and in the sigh you carry home. Ancient wisdom offers a calmer architecture. Plans grow sturdy when more than one mind bears their weight. This is not a committee that dulls vision. This is a braid. One strand alone is strong until it is pulled the wrong way. Braid strands and the same fiber holds a heavier future. Counsel is the braid. A peer who speaks as an equal and refuses to flatter. An elder who has walked through many winters and recognizes recurring weather. A specialist who sees the technical angles that ordinary sight misses. These voices do not replace your own. They refine it until it rings true. The nervous system understands the relief of such refining. When you are alone with a hard choice, the stress response steps forward and narrows the field of view. Breath shortens. Options feel binary. The mind tilts toward the familiar move. Add calm perspective, and the body loosens its grip. Breath lengthens. Possibilities return. The thoughtful part of the brain wakes like lights coming on in a workshop. You can examine the piece from every side instead of swinging the hammer in the dark. There is a tenderness in how good counsel works. It notices the person before it touches the plan. It honors dignity while it questions assumptions. It does not humiliate. It clarifies. The words may be firm, but they arrive without poison. They separate identity from error so that change feels possible rather than punishing. Under that kind light, pride loosens. Defensiveness softens. Curiosity grows where shame once stood guard. Picture a leader at a table late in the day. The project looks sound, and yet something does not sit right. Alone, fatigue might vote for yes to end the discomfort. With counsel in the room, the questions deepen. A peer wonders about timing. An elder remembers a pattern from another season. A specialist points to a small hinge that will carry a large door. The decision changes by a few degrees and saves months of repair. No applause, no drama, just quiet wisdom, and the body of everyone present feels the release that comes when a better path appears. Trust builds on this rhythm. People notice when choices are shaped by light rather than ego. A team begins to speak with more honesty. A family stops holding its breath. The culture around you learns that truth is welcome, not dangerous. This is how counsel multiplies power. It does not add noise, it adds clarity. It turns good intentions into architecture that can hold weight across time. Some fear that opening the door to outside eyes will weaken their authority. In practice, the opposite happens. Teachability signals strength. It tells the world that outcomes are more sacred than image. It tells those who follow you that their insight matters. It tells your own heart that you are safe enough to grow. Confidence unmoored from correction becomes brittle. Confidence braided with counsel becomes resilient. It bends without breaking and keeps its shape. There is wisdom in inviting perspective before pressure peaks. Many decisions fail not in their public hour, but in their private preparation. Wise hearts create a rhythm where ideas meet reality early and gently. They imagine where a plan could break and treat that imagining as care, not fear. They walk around the structure and tap the beams for soundness. They repair what answers with a hollow note. When the day of testing comes, the house holds because the quiet work is already done. Counsel also guards the soul. Alone, the inner critic can grow loud and cruel. In wise company, feedback becomes information rather than accusation. You are reminded that errors are events, not identities. You are reminded that growth is not a verdict, but a process. The nervous system hears this mercy and stands down. Sleep returns, focus sharpens. The mind that once braced for attack begins to open like a window. There will be moments when counsel contradicts desire, when an honest voice asks you to release a shining plan that does not serve your calling. The letting go can feel like grief, yet grief of this kind clears ground for better seed. It protects you from victories that would have cost your peace. It keeps you from climbing a ladder that leans against the wrong wall. In time, you learn to love this safeguard. You learn to trust the way truth preserves what matters most. Imagine a cord braided by hands that care for your future. Each strand carries a unique texture. The peer brings candor. The elder brings memory. The specialist brings precision. Together, they create a strength that feels different in your palm. You lift heavier questions without strain. You cross uncertain ground without slipping. You begin to notice how often the breakthrough arrived, not from pushing harder, but from listening deeper. Let the picture rest here. A room with warm light, a table that has heard laughter and hard conversations, papers spread with plans that breathe rather than boast, faces soft with focus, voices steady with respect. You speak and are met by minds that want your good and the good of the work. You leave lighter and wiser because your path has been tested by love. The result is not only better outcomes, the result is a quieter heart. The strong do not walk alone. The wise do not think alone. Counsel does not dim your mind. Counsel upgrades it. The city is quieter now. Gates understand their work. Words carry weight without strain. The inner weather has cooled enough for the horizon to appear. What once felt like separate lessons begins to feel like one language spoken with different accents. Guarded attention, honest self-talk, calm conflict, steady planning, trusted counsel. Each one touches the next, the way water feeds root, and root feeds branch, and branch lifts the fruit to light. Picture a simple rhythm moving through an ordinary week, not as orders, but as a tide that knows when to rise and when to rest. Early hours lean toward stillness, so the gates remember what belongs and what does not. Midday opens space for work that asks for full presence, the kind of focus that was once rare and now returns like a friend. Evening softens the voice within, trading judgment for the kind of accuracy that heals. The body answers this rhythm with small signals of relief. Breath deepens. Eyes stop scanning for what is not needed. Sleep reaches its deeper waters and comes back with strength. When pressure visits, as it always does, the heart remembers the path that turns heat into light. A quick sting arrives, and the first impulse knocks, yet the hand on the door no longer moves in a rush. What matters most steps to the center. A response forms that serves tomorrow as much as today. Relationships stop feeling like glass and start feeling like wood that can be sanded and shaped. The mind begins to trust itself in hard rooms because it has practiced peace while the room was easy. Desire no longer burns through its own fuel. It hums, it paces, it grows muscle the way a worker learns the feel of well-used tools. The plan is not a cage. It is a promise that welcomes you back when a day runs wild. You return without drama, and the road receives you without shame. Each small return lays another stone in a path that leads somewhere real. Over time, the path becomes a signature. People who know you can hear its sound even before they see your face. Conversation with wise voices becomes a kind of shelter. Questions arrive, carrying more light and less fear. The peer sharpens, the elder steadies, the specialist clarifies. Together, they keep the work honest and the heart humane. You notice how often relief follows a truth spoken with kindness. You notice how often clarity follows the moment you admit what you do not know. Confidence changes its posture. It stands tall without standing alone. Across 7 quiet days, these strands weave. Attention keeps the gates. Identity is built by truthful speech within. Offense turns into direction rather than detour. Plans walk at a human pace and keep going. Counsel braids strength that one mind could not hold by itself. None of this is loud. None of this needs a stage. This is the art of living in a way that the nervous system can trust and the spirit can bless. There will be setbacks, and they will not define you. There will be delays, and they will not deny you. The rhythm carries through both. Wisdom has always preferred long roads that do not collapse over short ones that cannot bear weight. What grows here is not a performance. What grows here is character, with quiet roots and generous shade. People near you feel safer. Rooms with you in them feel calmer. Work near your hands becomes truer. Let the closing image for this chapter rest like a hand over the heart. A city at evening, walls warm with the last light, lamps in windows, steadied by glass. In the square, a craftsman puts away his tools with care. On a nearby roof, a family pauses and smiles at nothing in particular. The gates are closed, yet the city is not smaller. It is stronger. The night will pass. The morning will come, and the mind, trained by love and order, will meet it with the kind of peace that quietly multiplies everything it touches. Morning waits at the edge of the city, and the streets hold a soft stillness, as if they remember a song that never needed to shout. The gates know what belongs. The inner rooms hold a calm lamp. Words have grown thoughtful. Plans move with a kind rhythm. Counsel sits like a trusted chair that keeps its shape. Nothing grand is happening, and yet everything is different. There is order where there was noise. There is breath where there was hurry. There is room for kindness to stand beside strength. Wisdom has walked beside you like an old friend who does not advertise his presence, who points quietly and lets you choose. He taught a guard for the gates so that peace could afford to stay. He taught a truthful inner voice so that effort would not be wasted on self-defense. He taught a slow anger that turns heat into light. He taught a humble structure that lets desire become a life. He taught a braid of minds so that one bright head would not have to carry every weight. This is not a gallery of ideas. This is a way of being human that both spirit and science respect. The body knows the difference. Shoulders rest lower. The jaw forgets its old iron. The heart steps out of sprint and into stride. The mind which once scattered like birds at a loud sound now gathers like birds that know the evening and the morning. What seemed mystical reveals itself as practice. What seemed merely practical begins to feel sacred. A guarded thought becomes an act of love. A measured word becomes an act of courage. A steady plan becomes an act of faith. The city inside is not sealed against the world. It is ready for it. Work enters and finds tools laid out. Relationships enter and find a listening chair. Challenges enter and find people who refuse to abandon one another. Counsel enters and finds welcome. The days stop performing and begin to produce. The nights give back something better than sleep. They give back trust in the day that is coming. There is a gentleness here that does not cancel strength. It is the gentleness of mastery, the way a craftsman handles a blade that is sharp enough to harm and shaped well enough to heal. It is the gentleness of a leader who knows that people grow best under light, not glare. It is the gentleness of a soul that has made peace with the fact that growth requires time, and that time is not an enemy. The old images hold, a wall that protects without imprisoning, a scale that steadies when pride steps off and purpose steps on, an ant that carries a future one grain at a time, a cord woven by hands that care for the road ahead. These are not ornaments. They are reminders placed where the eye will catch them again and again until reflex learns wisdom, and wisdom becomes the unremarkable way you move. Some days will still be loud, some conversations will still sting, some plans will still pivot, yet the foundation no longer cracks at the first sign of weight. The gates hold, the inner voice stays accurate. The temperature in the room finds a level where thinking can work and love can stay. You will notice the change in small scenes. The email that could have burned becomes a bridge. The meeting that once drained becomes a decision that actually decides. The evening that once collapsed becomes a quiet renewal. In the end, the promise is simple, and it is honest. A guarded mind does not shrink a life, it expands it. A wise mind does not make you distant. It makes you present in a way that others can trust. A peaceful mind does not make you passive, it makes you precise. Peace behaves like profit in a world that confuses speed with success. The return is steady, the return is sleep that repairs, the return is work that matters, and love that lasts. The light changes now, the kind of change that comes when a curtain is pulled a little wider. Streets silver and then warm. Somewhere a door opens. Somewhere a child laughs. Somewhere a craftsman lifts the first tool of the day and finds that the handle fits the hand as if it were made for it. Wisdom has always wanted something this ordinary and this beautiful, a life that can be trusted with influence because it is ruled first from within. A question remains, simple and searching, like a key left on a table in an open room. Which quiet practice will most faithfully anchor your mind in the days ahead?